Waking up to a deactivated account is easily the worst nightmare for us as Amazon sellers. Your funds are frozen, your inventory is stuck, and your business is completely locked up. And as we speak, Amazon is giving lifetime bans to sellers who don't follow the rules that we're going to break down in this video together. So if you want to make sure your Amazon account is protected for years to come, today I'm going to give you the knowledge that I've learned after 8 years of selling on Amazon. And during those 8 years, I've had my account temporarily deactivated. I've lost access to selling specific brands temporarily, but the end result of all of those account scares has always been getting my account fully back up and live. So let's go ahead and start diving into what you should and should not do as an Amazon seller to stay healthy. And to do that, I want to start by talking about Section 3 reviews as Amazon sellers. Even if you are not actively selling on Amazon yet, or you've been selling for a little while, you've probably heard of these account reviews. And the reason why Section 3 reviews happen is something that actually negatively affected my Amazon business. And these reviews solved the problem of us as legitimate Amazon sellers trying to and being forced to compete with people selling on the same product listings who were selling pretty obvious counterfeit products where they can obviously undercut us massively when they're selling fake stuff on the platform. This was a few years ago at this point, and after that, Section 3 account reviews became much more common as Amazon randomly selects especially newer Amazon sellers and asks them to prove where they're getting their inventory from. So in most cases, those Section 3 reviews aren't even triggered by you necessarily messing up. You can just kind of get unlucky and Amazon wants to review your account. But as long as you stick to sourcing inventory from legitimate sources, these account reviews are a good thing, right? It's going to protect you from having to compete with those counterfeit sellers like I was talking about. But a lot of people do end up getting their accounts deactivated from this because they don't know where they can and can't buy. So let's jump into the computer. And we're going to go ahead and break down a few examples of things you need to avoid. These are the most common ones I've seen from helping literally thousands of people sell on Amazon at this point. They'll send me messages about products like these where their account's kind of on the ropes and they ended up buying from sources like this, right? Let's start by looking at Walmart. Obviously, Walmart sells legitimate inventory. We can buy products from Walmart and resell those back on Amazon. That is how a ton of people build their Amazon business. I've sold plenty of stuff that I bought from Walmart and sold on Amazon. But where you can get in trouble is on these other marketplaces like Walmart, Kmart, even Target. Some of those listings are sold by third-party sellers. You can see in this case, this person is selling this Trader Joe's seasoning and the seller is not Walmart. So when you're shopping, make sure that you know that you can trust exactly who you're buying it from. So in this case, we can shop at Walmart. We can buy things from Walmart as long as it says from Walmart. For example, let's say you want to sell this Sonic toy. This would be totally acceptable and a totally legitimate source because it's shipped and sold by Walmart. That would maybe be an interesting tactic by Amazon for them to just claim that Walmart sells fake products, right? But luckily that's not the case. So just make sure you're sticking to legitimate big retail websites. If you're not sure whether the website you're looking at is more legitimate, you can use places like Trustpilot to help you validate. This website in particular is not something that I've purchased from. In fact, I've sourced some products that would have been profitable from this website, but I personally avoided them because I saw things like this where there's terrible reviews, right? People were complaining about getting used products from this supplier. So with suppliers like this, when you just do a quick check and look for reviews, you know that not only might you be selling things that are in used condition or not up to par with what Amazon's expecting, that also shows me that I can't really trust that Amazon is going to trust their documentation. On the flip side of these sketchier websites and such, we also need to look out for kind of sketchier wholesalers, right? So I want to show you an example of what a wholesaler should look like. This is a very classic example of a wholesaler that tons of people mention. This is basically what people have been suggesting to get ungated to sell toys for even before I started selling on Amazon 8 years ago. But when you're looking into potential wholesalers that you might want to expand into, as well as those retail websites you're buying from, keep in mind that legitimate wholesalers are not pretty much ever going to on their website list, hey, you can buy 100 units of this at this price and it's this ASIN on Amazon, right? If they're marketing specifically for Amazon sellers, it's a little bit on the sketchier side. What you want to see is something like this, where it's like, hey, we need you to sign up. We need you to create an account. We need you to call our sales rep, something like that. Legitimate wholesalers pretty much never make a website and say, here's the product on Amazon. You could make this much profit selling it, right? That's someone who is extremely incentivized for you to buy from them. And then you take on the risk where they might already know that product has a little bit of authenticity risk, or they're sourcing it from somewhere that Amazon's not going to, so they're trying to dump it on other Amazon sellers. So that to say, just make sure you can trust the website that you are buying products from, which for most people, if you're new to selling on Amazon, you don't need to worry about wholesalers anyway. Just stick to buying name brand products from big box retail websites. And if you ever kind of stumble on a website you're not so sure about, just do a quick check on the reviews. Now, if you do happen to get a Section 3 review, as long as you've been sourcing from all these legitimate sources like Walmart, you'll just have to download those invoices. Typically, Amazon will say, hey, we saw you've been selling this Sonic car. We need you to prove that you're buying this Sonic car from a legitimate source. So just go into your email, download those invoices, which is just going to be like the order confirmation and the tracking proof from Walmart. In this example here, we'd upload that to Amazon, and Amazon's going to say, all right, you're buying it from Walmart. We know Walmart sells legitimate products. You're good. If you bought it from some sketchy wholesaler, or you bought it from some guy on Telegram that was messaging you like, hey, I got all this cheap wholesale inventory, you might be in a little bit of trouble, and that's probably not even a might be in trouble. And while we're looking at these products on Walmart, I also want to talk about one of the other common ways that people end up getting their accounts banned on Amazon, and that is going to be buying this product. Let's say you're not in stock on Amazon, or you think you can just wait until someone buys it from your store on Amazon and then ship it straight from Walmart to your customer. This would be called retail drop shipping for any of you guys that have kind of looked into that kind of business model before. But retail drop shipping is completely not allowed on Amazon. There's very specific guidelines for when you can drop ship products to customers, and it always involves your supplier knowing that you're drop shipping to customers on Amazon, because it has to be packaged in a certain way. There has to be packing slips, that kind of thing. But if someone shops on Amazon and they're paying $30 for this toy, you don't have the product in hand, so you just go to Walmart and you buy it, and then you just punch in that customer's address and you ship it to them. That product's going to show up in a Walmart box. It's going to show up with a receipt from Walmart that shows that you paid $18 for it, and that Amazon customer is going to get really frustrated that, number one, why did my Amazon package come in a Walmart box, and why does the receipt say it was way cheaper than I paid for it, right? So you're going to get returns, you're going to get customers complaining, and then those customer complaints will lead to account deactivations if you are retail drop shipping on Amazon. But luckily, this one is a very easy one to avoid. Section 3 reviews can be random. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, just don't drop ship and you won't get banned for drop shipping. It's pretty simple on this one here. And by the way, if you don't know how to source these products legitimately with the most efficient methods, I have tons of other videos on the channel where we source products together completely compliant with Amazon's terms of service. So you can check out one of those videos after this video is over. And as you're out in the wild sourcing for those products, I want to show you 3 types of products that can get your Amazon account in a lot of trouble or even banned as well. So continuing on this quick list of things that you need to never do if you want your account to stay safe. If you're looking at a product listing on Amazon and you see something like this, where on the listing it says branded generic, on SellerAmp there's a warning that tells you that this is a generic branded item. What that means is that this listing was made by someone who didn't have proper authorization to list, in this case, Supernature products on Amazon. And when you sell this product on Amazon, you're basically pretending legally that this brand, which is obviously a real brand in this case, it's not called generic, it's clearly called Supernature, right? You are pretending that the product you're selling is a completely different brand, which legally can be considered copyright infringement. This opens you up to all kinds of risk. Plus, Amazon doesn't want you selling on these generic branded listings. This is a really simple one to avoid. As you're sourcing products, SellerAmp's going to give you this warning right here. That just makes it a nice and easy thing to avoid. Another quick check that you'll want to do before you purchase an item to sell on Amazon, this is a pretty straightforward check. On SellerAmp, you can scroll down and you can see the entire history of how many people have been selling on a particular listing. So in this case, you could see for a long time, it was very consistent, like 30-ish people were selling this product. Pretty good indicator that 30 people are on this product that can probably come on and sell it as an additional reseller. But the problem arises when you start looking, and in the past, if you look at a product, and we can even just zoom in to the offer count here. If you look and hey, there's 32 sellers. Oh wait, now there's 23. Now there's 6 all of a sudden, all dropping off a cliff all at once. So you guys can see that on the SellerAmp chart right there. I'll make the mouse go away. If you see that massive drop off in the number of sellers on a listing, 99 times out of 100, that means that the brand went onto this listing and they wanted to kick off all the other third-party resellers that they didn't authorize. And if you're the brand owner on Amazon, it's well within your right. Luckily, there's literally a million plus products that brand owners don't care about actually sell well. Amazon doesn't sell. Kind of the reseller market on Amazon is massive. But you just need to avoid products like these where you can see the brand rapidly kicking other sellers off of this listing. A lot of times that would lead to the brand themselves wanting to sell on this listing, which is another thing you need to avoid. So if we're looking at this product right here, when I look at the sellers on the listing, Dr. Squatch is the name of the seller. It's also the name of the brand on this listing. That shows me that, hey, this brand wants to make all the sales on their product on Amazon. I should not try to compete with the brand because they're probably going to try to kick me off that listing, which once again, if you're the brand owner of a product on Amazon and you see all these random people hopping on, you probably want to be the one making the sales, right? So it's totally within their right to take care of this. That's where we just need to stick to products that have lots of other resale potential. And once again, if you don't know how to find those products, there's so many videos on the channel that show you how to find good, profitable products that'll actually let you sell them for a long time. And that brings me to another one of the common reasons that I see beginners getting banned to sell on Amazon. Recently, I helped someone actually win an appeal for this, but it was a massive headache and it's super simple to avoid. Jumping back into the computer, the main thing you need to avoid, I'm just on Amazon seller website. When you're on an Amazon seller account, whether you're logging in on your computer or logging in on your phone, never ever check your Amazon seller account on public Wi-Fi, because Amazon starts to link seller accounts based on if they've ever logged in on the same Wi-Fi, if they have the same address linked on their store. Basically, anywhere that you could think that Amazon might start linking different Amazon seller accounts together, they probably will. They do that so that Amazon sellers can't come in and make 20 different accounts and just never have any repercussions for breaking the rules. So this one's very simple. Don't go to McDonald's and log into the public Wi-Fi and get on your Amazon seller account, right? You can use a mobile hotspot. And like I was saying, recently I had a student who had done this. They logged in on their seller account on public Wi-Fi. They got linked to this other seller account that was breaking Amazon's terms of service. They were actually doing retail drop shipping, which got them banned, like we established. And then my student, who was not doing anything wrong, got their account linked to this other account, and they basically had to go through this whole process to prove that they don't have anything to do with that business, which the entire thing could have been avoided just by not logging in on public Wi-Fi. So very simple one here. Make sure you're keeping all that Amazon account info safe. Plus, it's not safe in the first place to log into important things like your seller account on public Wi-Fi. So lots of reasons not to do that. Keeping your account safe is an obvious one here. So with all that established so far, let me know if you guys have any clarifying questions, comments, anything like that down below in the comment section. If you're watching this video and you're already going through some kind of account review, IP complaint, inauthentic complaint, I've made a full video that shows you how to beat all those things. You can click this video right here. And for those of you guys that just want to learn more about selling on Amazon, check the resources down below. I have a completely free course, free community. I would love to hear from you and kind of see where you're at in your Amazon journey when you check out those free resources.